Iceland was created by two tectonic plates going in opposite directions. The North American plate moves to the west and the Eurasian plate moves to the east, creating a fissure. As they separate, magma flows up and penetrates the Earth's crust. This forms volcanoes, geysers, hot springs and lava fields. The island lies just below the Arctic Circle and is warmed by the Atlantic current. The combination results in an unusual landscape of glaciers, hot springs, volcanoes and waterfalls. The Blue Lagoon is a geothermal spa in southwestern Iceland. The spa is located in a lava field favorable for geothermal power. The lagoon is man-made. The water is a byproduct from the nearby geothermal power plant where superheated water is vented from the ground near a lava flow and used to run turbines that generate electricity. After going through the turbines, the steam and hot water passes through a heat exchanger to provide heat for a municipal water heating system. Then the water is fed into the lagoon. Reykjavik is the capital and largest city of Iceland, and with a population of about 200,000. The city is spread out, with sprawling suburbs. The city center, however, is a very small area characterized by eclectic and colorful houses. The town started development in the 18th century but had already been inhabited for almost 1,000 years. Legend has it that the first permanent settler in Iceland was a Norwegian named Ingjaldur Arnarsson in 900 AD. He is said to have thrown his ship's chair legs into the sea en route to Iceland, and decided to settle wherever the pillars were found. The pillars washed up in Reykjavik, and so that was where he settled. Ingjaldur Square is named for Ingjaldur Arnarsson, the Scandinavian explorer who, according to the Icelandic sagas, settled at Reykjavik in AD 874. The square is situated near the location of Aronsson's first settlement. The square has two stone pillars which represent the two wooden legs from his ship's chair. City Hall is a blocky, curved-roofed, concrete and glass building where the city council meets. The building houses the offices of the Reykjavik City Council and the mayor, and the city's tourist information center. The design merges traditional Icelandic materials with modern Nordic design, seeming to rest on top of the nearby lake. The Unknown Bureaucrat is lightly satirizing monument to the thankless, anonymous job of the bureaucrat. The 1994 sculpture by Magnus Thomasson depicts a man in a suit holding a briefcase, with his head and shoulders subsumed in a slab of unsculpted stone. The Harpa Concert Hall and Conference Center was opened on May 4, 2011. The building features a distinctive colored glass facade inspired by the basalt landscape of Iceland. Construction started in 2007 but was halted with the start of the 2008 Icelandic financial crisis. The completion of the structure was uncertain until the government decided in 2008 to fully fund the rest of the construction costs for the half-built concert hall. For several years, it was the only construction project in existence in Iceland. Hallgrímskirkja YUH Lutheran Church is one of the city's best-known landmarks and is visible throughout the city. The church was commissioned in 1937 and took 40 years to complete. The architecture resembles the mountains, columnar rocks and glaciers of Iceland. In front of the church there is a statue of Ericsson, as a gift from the United States to Iceland to commemorate the 1,000-year anniversary of Iceland's parliament. On Power operates two geothermal power stations with a combined capacity of about 700 megawatts. The power plants provide over 50% of the hot water being used for district heating in the capital area. The hot water is also used for greenhouses, swimming pools, snow melting and the geothermal beach. One of the plants is open to visitors and is the largest, single-site geothermal power plant in the world. The plant's exhibition provides a look at how Iceland has harnessed geothermal energy for hundreds of years and how current and future developments will make the power plant one of the greenest energy sources on the planet. Seljalands Foss waterfall originates underneath a glacier. The volcano beneath this ice cap erupted in 2010 and caused havoc at airports across Europe. The fall is relatively narrow and originates from a tall cliff that once marked the country's coastline. The sea is now located across a stretch of lowlands. The fall features a pathway that stretches all the way around it through a wide cave that allows access behind it. The 131-foot-high Foss Fall is hidden behind a huge cliff which faces out towards Iceland's south coast and the Atlantic Ocean. The partially obscured fall can be reached by trail that enters the narrow canyon where the water flows to a small pool. Black sand beach and sea stacks were formed from heavily eroded volcanic rocks which in turn were formed from cooled lava which turns black as it cools and hardens. The most striking feature of the beach are the sea stacks. The stacks are formed when part of a headland was eroded by the force of the sea crashing against the rock. The force of the water weakens cracks in the headland, causing them to later collapse, forming freestanding stacks. Skagafoss is one of the biggest falls in the country. It frequently produces rainbows from its spray. Viking legend says that a treasure is buried behind its crashing wall of water, though so far nothing has ever been found. The top of the fall is accessible by a hiking trail. The fall is fed by two glaciers, is 80 feet across and drops nearly 200 feet. There is an enormous plain extending 5 kilometers from the base of the falls to the seacoast. The plain was created from erosion caused by a huge and sudden glacier flood some 3,000 years ago. The Gunnuver geothermal area is an active geothermal area of mud pools and steam vents. Named after an angry female ghost, Gudrun, whose spirit was trapped in the hot springs by a priest 400 years ago. The hot springs are fed from groundwater here that is 100% seawater. The colorful minerals in the ground provide vibrant hues, but danger is very real with temperatures over 570 degrees Fahrenheit. Gunnuver has Iceland's largest mud pool of violently boiling earth. Reykjanes Lighthouse was the first lighthouse built in Iceland in 1878. By 1905, numerous earthquakes and rough surf had damaged the area so much that there was the risk of the lighthouse falling into the sea. A new lighthouse was built in 1907 on hill farther from the shoreline and the old one was demolished. The lighthouse signal is about 225 feet above sea level. Thingvellir National Park is part of a fissure zone running through Iceland on the tectonic plate boundaries of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. The plate boundaries move apart by a few inches per year and created the Thingvellir Valley. When Iceland was settled around 930 AD, the valley became a location for the tribes to settle disputes. Thingvellir means assembly. It evolved into a parliament and continued to convene there until 1798. The bridge between two continents crosses over the rift created by the North American and Eurasia tectonic plates. The plates move apart from one another at a rate of about 1 inch per year. The rift crosses Iceland from northwest to southeast and is slowly pulling the country apart. The most visible evidence of the separation is in southeast where the rift enters the sea. The Strákar geyser is located in a large geothermal field about 60 west of Reykjavik. The geothermal field is about 150 acres. Most of the springs are aligned along a strip of land running in the same direction as the tectonic plate lines in the area. The Strákar spouts water about 100 feet into the air every few minutes. Gullfoss is a dramatic two-tier waterfall, whose name translates as Golden Falls. This is a reference to the shimmering mist that sometimes appears around the falls. The waterfall drops 100 feet into a narrow canyon that is 200 feet deep and about 2 miles long. In the 1920s, a foreign investor purchased the falls and had plans to dam it for hydropower. After a lengthy lawsuit, the government obtained title to the land and created a park. Keyred is a volcanic crater lake in Iceland's western volcanic zone. It was created as the land moved over a localized magma hotspot about 3,000 years ago. The volcano's caldera is intact and is composed of red rather than black volcanic rock. The caldera is about 180 feet deep, 560 feet wide, and 890 feet across. The small lake at the bottom is shallow and has an opaque, vivid aquamarine color due to minerals from the soil.